Good morning, David. How are you?
Oh, no, I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. So today, we're going to be talking about new emerging technologies that you should get really excited for. So we're going to go through VR/AR, self-driving cars, folding phones, AI, and 5G and 6G. So let's start with VR and AR. So, David, what do you think about VR and AR?
I think those are very interesting technology. Well, I mean, like, it's not perfect, but it's getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, from the first product, I'd say, like, the price has been reduced quite a lot. Its power has come better. Like its life, like, battery charge is a lot more efficient compared to, like, its old battery pack. It's a lot more slimmer and it has a nicer design. For example, if you've seen the new Oculus Rift, it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
more smaller, hey, and it's a lot less heavy, which means like the straps are as big. And I've tried the Oculus Rift, and it's pretty damn nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty damn nice. Hey, now, I think we should obviously say that there's a difference between AI, which is augmented reality, versus VR, which is virtual reality. Right?
Yeah.
Augmented reality is something that you can use on your phone, which basically interacts with the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, VR is a virtual world, which means that you're basically in a whole new world, but within an eye set.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, basically, eventually, I feel like VR is gonna get to the point where it's gonna be like ACL type of shit. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
what?
Like Soda Online, which is basically VI, but like you get trapped inside the game and then you all die one by one. But like,
Bruh.
yeah, it's so bad. But yeah, like like my future for the VI, I feel like it's gonna be hella good, right? Like there's this one podcast that I watched with Marcus and Mike Zuckerberg, and they're talking about VI and AI, right? And
Mm-hmm.
basically, they said something about VI. Well, Mike Zuckerberg's vision about VI. Like, I may not be too sure because it's been a while. But he said something about like how he basically wants it, like he believes in VI, how it's gonna be the new big thing, right?
Yeah.
Like for communication or like almost anything. Of course, he also said that you wouldn't, of course, there'd be a limit. You wouldn't want to use a VI in the real world, right? Like while walking, that'd be stupid. Right? So so instead, you would use augmented reality, which is like interacting with the real world.
Yeah.
So, for example, he spoke about Google Glasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they look ugly as hell, like they're still basically AI, right?
Well, yeah, I
Like
mean they
augment,
got discontinued, but yeah, they were
yeah,
AR.
yeah, they're basically AI. So, I would love to try Google Glasses despite it still being discontinued. I wish you could still working on it. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? That'd be
Yeah.
extremely cool.
Well, I actually know which what you're referring to because I also watched that interview between Marcus Brownlee and Mark Zuckerberg.
Mm-hmm.
And one really interesting thing I found is that I talked about this in the last podcast, but Mark Zuckerberg, like you know how he's the founder like of Facebook, and whenever he views things, he's like, "Oh, how can we use this to connect people?" Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he said inside that interview that his vision for Oculus and like AR is that whenever like right now, whenever you use AR, there's only like or like just AR VR. There's only two senses, right? There's the visual, and then there's the audio, right?
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure those suits. Okay, because I remember seeing this one product which basically uses VR. Like there was like this one YouTuber called Hey I'm B, right? And she had this like
Who?
one vest, like a YouTuber called Hey I'm B.
Okay.
Basically had this one vest which connected to VR, and basically she was playing VR chat, and she literally like she was able to feel people touching her
That
chest and
sounds
all that.
weird. That sounds weird.
It does sound weird. People were doing weird shit, man. But like I'm saying like it's improving to the point that you may actually start to feel things, despite it still being
Yeah,
there.
that sounds weird. That sounds weird.
That's still pretty cool though.
Well, inside that interview between Marcus Brownlee and Mark Zuckerberg, he said that his end vision for you know augmented reality is that he wants the Oculus to where basically like you can you can hand stuff to the other person. So like let's say me and you, we have an Oculus Rift, and
Hmm.
like I can basically take a box and hand it to you, and then like it appears in your living room, if you get what I'm saying.
Of course, like, but like, am I living in virtually? Yeah.
No, no, not
I mean,
virtually. He wants to actually like bring it physically. Like I take a physical box and I hand it to you, then that physical box is actually inside your living room.
so let me guess. So he wants like box, but like right that isn't in my room, that isn't in my living room, that just randomly appears there.
No, no, he wants literal teleportation.
Yeah, so it randomly appears. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I don't know how they're gonna do that, but
It's not. I don't think it's gonna be really possible anytime soon. It'd be extremely impressive if
I
they could
mean,
accomplish that.
who knows, man? Cause I mean, I just because if you think about it like that, it's pretty insane. Cause like it's literally like I literally just like take a box or like well, he'll another example he gave is that you have your sofa, okay, and then you put the holograms of like 4 to 5 friends on your sofa, and then you take out a deck of cards, like a physical deck of cards, and you start shuffling it. Then you hand out the cards, and then in real life they have the physical cards wherever they are, like in their living rooms or wherever they are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, that'd be extremely impressive, though. Don't you think so?
Oh
Would you want
yeah,
that?
oh yeah. I mean, it'd be pretty cool, though. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be really weird. Like it's because this is like extremely new whenever it comes out, so I feel like it's gonna be extremely buggy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, it would also be spending time in space too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, 'cause I think it would be possible though within maybe the next 15 to 20 years because
For it to teleport,
yeah, well, because I'm not 100% sure about this, but I heard that apparently I don't know, somewhere in the world they were able to like clone a goat or some shit.
okay, that's different. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, but like, that's different.
Is it really?
Yes, it is different. This, you're basically retaking the main brand shell. You're talking about teleportation and cells. They're two different things.
Yeah, no, no, no. But I mean, like, what if they took? Because what if they use a similar technology? Because basically, for the goat, from my understanding, they basically took its like DNA and they
Yeah.
pretty much copy pasted it to make another one, right? I mean, I know there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of what they did, right?
Yeah, they basically took a cell.
Yeah,
They were all female.
yeah. So what if what they did is that they did the same thing, but like you know how I said that they basically copy pasted its DNA?
But like the goat died though,
Oh,
only within 5 minutes.
I didn't know that.
Like it literally died only minutes away after birth.
Oh, oh, that's tough. Yeah, okay, I did not know that. Um,
That reminds me of like this one video. I I saw like basically a goat like born from like a mouse sperm, like a mouse born goat. Like it was given like you know how like goats are supposed to be like pushed out. Actually, I don't know how they
the
usually give
fuck?
birth, but since the memo obviously assumed that they push it out from the mom goat. Right?
Okay.
So basically, instead of doing that, right, instead of it, like it was a regular goat, and it was just born inside a sack.
Oh
The
yeah, yeah, I've
sack,
heard that kind of things. Yeah.
yeah, and then like, and then and then I was like, wait a minute, this shit is kind of fucking whack, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, like this basically says that eventually you're gonna, like, people are gonna be able to give birth without the help of woman or man, and that shit is kind of scary to me a little bit.
Yeah,
Still to me.
it's pretty weird. No, but earlier, what I was saying, so you know how I said how like they basically copy pasted the goat's DNA kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah,
What if for the teleportation they took like let's say the makeup of what the box is, and instead of copy paste they cut paste, if you get what I'm saying.
yeah. I get, that, that's stupid. I don't think it's possible. It's physically not possible.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
For that to be possible, you know what atoms are?
yeah, I know what atoms are.
You're basically manipulating atoms out of nowhere. You know how like difficult it is to manipulate an atom?
I mean, yeah, but people have manipulated atoms before.
I mean, when you physically touch something, you're obviously manipulating the atom.
No, 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 but I mean, like, dude, no, but like they've actually like manipulated like the atoms, like that's what the atomic bomb was.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I think what it was is that they condensed a bunch of atoms or some shit, and then yeah, that's how they made the first.
they condensed it, and then after that, they ended up spiking it, which basically made the atom separate, which
Yeah,
made it, wild and. But yeah, but it's not. I don't. It's not possible.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, but at the same time, people like that's what we're thinking now. But at the same time, people probably thought that it was impossible for humans to go to the moon.
oh, that's different because okay, the reason why I say it's different is because you're basically saying teleportation versus doing something. We obviously have the tools to do go to the moon compared to actually teleportation.
No, but how do you know inside like like 15, 20 years from now we maybe then we'll have the tools for teleportation.
Because we literally don't have the tools to manipulate to how do we say this?
Manipulate atoms?
Teleportation does not exist. Hey,
Yeah, not yet.
yeah, do you think it'll exist within the next 50 years?
Maybe. I mean, it's really it's possible.
What technology?
I don't know. It could be something that doesn't even exist yet. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know why you're so against it though. Why are you so against teleportation?
I'm not against teleportation. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, I would love to see that, right? I would love to see that, but it'd be extremely hard for it to be accomplished. But I would actually love to see that. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. You seem pretty against it to me.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying. I know that it'll be extremely hard and not really possible, but I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Right?
Cause
Like if you told me back then, like people would be able to go to the moon, I'd be like, yo, that'd be extremely hard, but it's possible.
yeah, no, I don't think
But
you would have said that.
I would have said that. Okay, shut up. I would have said that. Okay, for example, right? For example, there was this one time like this is like we had the same grade 8 teacher. Okay,
Hmm.
she was like she spoke about something about mice and how it's not possible. I'm like, how do you know it's not possible, Beth? Like people said it wasn't possible to go to the moon. Like, yeah, I mean, there's only been like what, like 5 people who
Some
went to the
people
moon.
still think it's impossible.
Exactly. Screw them, okay? They're trying to destroy dreams, okay? Be a very intelligent being, despite doing dumb shit. We have like some ghosts are dumb as fuck, but others are smarter than other ghosts, which is the same with humans. Some humans are dumb as fuck, others are pretty smart. But the intelligent one will be able to accomplish a task like that. That I would love to go to Mars despite it being a one trip away.
I don't know. I feel like
You know
it'd
what I
be
mean?
miserable just like living inside a biodome and stuff.
I don't know, man. I feel like I mean like there's always something to learn on Mars,
Hmm.
Like it's unknown.
Yeah.
So like you'll always be constantly learning and evolving and adapting to your environment. Which means like sure maybe it might be boring. Like it would still be amusing at the same time. For example, right? in space to keep themselves occupied. They literally have guitars, like they interact with each other. They talk to, like they have each other as company, right?
Yeah,
And
but
you know,
I don't know, I
they
feel like
also
the
have instruments.
hmm. Yeah, but I don't know though. So you don't think the teleportation is possible?
I don't think it's possible right away. Like, actually, I would love to see it, but right now I don't think it's possible at all.
Oh yeah, well, no, obviously right now it's not possible, but like in I don't know 50 years or so it could be.
I'd love to see it in 50 years, but maybe even longer. I'd say way longer. Technology right now is like it's coming to the point. It is extremely difficult to like. It's gonna be even harder to condense it even more. Like we're near its limit right now,
I mean, yeah, maybe. Because I feel
which is
like
why like there's like this one thing, like quantum computers,
yeah.
which is why people are working on quantum computers because like it's a lot more powerful, but like it takes a lot more resources to make them, and it's
Yeah.
less compact. It's huge. Like
Yeah,
Google
exactly.
has their own quantum computer.
Yeah, IBM too, I think.
Yeah, no, they have a supercomputer. They don't have a quantum computer.
Okay, wasn't there some other company or something that has a quantum computer?
I actually don't know.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure IBM has a supercomputer.
Yeah, I know they have a supercomputer, but I think they also have a quantum computer. But anyways, yeah, but like, cause a quantum computer, it's basically looking at something from like a different angle, if you get what I'm saying. Like, cause right now, like you said, our technology, like in the traditional sense, like if we use like computers like in the form they are now, we're starting to approach the limit of what is physically possible. So yeah, we're probably gonna see a lot more development in quantum computers because then you can do a lot more with them, and it'll like like you said, it's less compact.
Yeah, like okay, but it also means that it takes a lot more space, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
computers back then took a huge amount of space, and it was less powerful to you.
yeah. Well, I
Like
mean,
imagine new generation of the quantum computer that we would be able to access with our hands. Like a quantum phone. That'd be extremely amazing, don't you think so?
yeah. I don't know what practical use it would have like right now, but I mean, yeah, because I mean, quantum computers, like like they're gonna be difficult to engineer because some of the parts they have to be kept at like extremely like cold temperatures, like minus like 400 degrees Celsius or some shit like that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah. So
It'd be very impressive, though.
I mean, yeah, but it is possible because that they'll have like a quantum computer, like in the size of a phone, like you said. Because like if you remember, like the first computers, they were like the size of like rooms and like even bigger than like the average room.
Yeah. For example, like again, but mom's like you're not looking. There's always just one thing, but like calculators today a lot more powerful than the like computers that they had like when they made the first moon mission.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
for the first space
very
launch.
impressive. Yeah, like that's very impressive, don't you think so?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, quantum computers are probably going to be the same way. They're going to become more powerful and take up less space.
Yeah, eventually, hopefully,
Hmm.
it'll be accessible to the public eventually,
Yeah,
if it was.
yeah. But yeah, but I mean, I don't know, I feel like that's still probably ways away because I as a species, we don't know that much about quantum physics and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, if you like if someone tells you about quantum physics, right, and you're confused, perfectly normal. Like
Yeah,
even physicists don't fucking understand jack shit about quantum physics. If you understand, if you understand something that someone spoke about quantum physics, you for sure did not listen or understand a single word because there's no way. Like even the person who knows the most about quantum physics doesn't know jack shit about quantum
yeah,
physics.
exactly.
Even
Like,
he said, even he said that he's so like he's very confused about it. So how's there a possible way he would be able to understand it? You know what I mean?
yeah, because I
It's very
remember, yeah, like you said, the guy who knows the most about it. Apparently, he got some award about it, and he said something like if you think you know how quantum mechanics works, then you don't. You're wrong. He basically said something like that.
Exactly. Like even if if he says that, then it's for sure. Like I'm not gonna say it's for sure true, but like like, it's a huge chance that you don't know jack shit about quantum physics and what shows about humanity. We don't know jack. Like I think it's safe to say that we don't even know what most things are in our own like in our own planet. Like a good majority of the water, right, of the sea is unexplored.
Yeah, something like 95% or something. Like we know more about space than our own oceans, and we don't know a whole lot about space either. So
Exactly. Yeah, like, hmm, do you know what a blind pool is?
no, I don't know what a Brian pool is.
I literally just learned that yesterday, and I was like it's basically a lake under the ocean,
A lake under the ocean. What do you mean?
a lake in the ocean. That's basically what a blind pool is.
Like, how does that work? Like a freshwater lake within the salt
So
water of the
that
ocean?
I wouldn't say it's fresh water. Like it's extremely fucking toxic. It's
Okay.
toxic water. So basically, like if you like swimming in it, it'd be deadly. For example, like there's this one fish that I saw while going in the blind pool looking for food. As soon like it dipped its head a tiny bit, and then it got into shock. Some fish die, some fish live, depending on how much they consume.
Hmm. Like this is on a
I
YouTube video or something you saw this?
yeah, yeah. And for some reason, it randomly popped up in my recommendation.
Yeah, there's always some weird shit that pop up in recommendations.
Yeah, it was still very impressive though.
Hmm. I was inside on YouTube like yesterday, and some of my
Yeah,
recommendations it was something like ants versus raspberry for 2 hours or some shit.
2 hours.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
shows like the ants like I don't know picking away at a raspberry.
that's amazing. Like YouTube is a great place to be,
Yeah,
depending
it can be.
depending on the community you're in.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the makeup community, that place is just toxic. Like it's disgusting.
Honestly, you never think that they'd be the toxic ones.
It really is. Like
Hmm.
most people attribute to gamers as being toxic, violent people. Like
Hmm.
have you seen the freaking beauty community? They
Oh my
literally
god.
try to cancel each other on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think we were on a tangent from VR and AR.
yeah. Well, basically, also another thing about AR that I find really cool. Have you heard of the Apple glasses?
Oh, I've heard people talk about it, but I don't know much about it to be
Okay,
honest.
so basically, it's kind of similar to Google Glass, and what it
Mhm.
is that it does everything a smartwatch can, but it'll be built into your glasses. So, for example, like on your smartwatch, you can, we'll take an Apple Watch because, like, it's more similar to what this is gonna be, but you can talk to Siri. You can see your notifications. You can see like your heart rate and like stuff like that. And you can like ask Siri for like everything that you normally ask Siri, so like the weather and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. So basically, it's all that. It's basically an Apple Watch but built into your glasses. So you'd be wearing the glasses, and like they're supposed to be quite discreet. They're supposed to look like Tim Cook's glasses. So it's not big and bulky, so you can like walk down the street with it or whatever. And basically, like whenever you'd have like someone sends you a text message, it would pop up in like the side view, kind of like the side of your vision. So like it doesn't like obstruct your view a lot, but you can still tell that you got a message or a notification. And then like you can ask Siri for like the time or the weather, and then like once again in your side view, like a little like let's say it was 25 degrees and it's sunny, you'd ask Siri for the weather, and then like a little like on the corner of your vision, a sunshine icon will pop up and it'll show like 25 degrees Celsius and like stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
I would love to buy that. I mean, it'd be expensive, I suppose.
Oh,
Actually,
actually,
I wouldn't want to buy that. It'd be very expensive.
dude,
That
that's what I thought too. But apparently, the rumored price for because Apple they want to make it like pretty affordable. The rumored price is like $600 to $700, which is expensive, but whenever you're talking about that level of technology, it's not bad at all.
I don't think I'd buy it. It'd be a waste of
It'd be
like
what?
half a grand. It'd be a waste of more than half a grand.
You think so?
I don't. Yeah,
I don't know. I'd probably buy it too.
it's basically you just said it's basically an Apple Watch of
Hmm.
glasses.
Yeah. I mean, dude, don't lie
I
to
mean,
it.
why would you? I mean, it's the exact same thing then. Why would you spend more when you can just
Uh,
literally get a watch that looks extremely nice
No, but dude,
and just
Apple Watch is like an Apple Watch is the same price as that. Like an Apple Watch is like $600.
is it? I
Yeah,
thought it was
bro.
like 300 or 400,
No, no,
maybe less.
those are Samsung watches, but Apple Watches are like 600. They're like super expensive. So let's say you wanted to you were planning on getting an Apple Watch anyways. What would you get? The Apple glasses or the Apple Watch? Most people would go with the Apple glasses.
You're not gonna lie, looking up at the Apple glasses, like images of it, it looks pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's not bad.
You mean it's not bad, bro? It's amazing. Like
It has
especially
a split design.
yeah, it looks literally like Tim Cook's glasses, and I don't know, man. Like I feel like it'd be pretty cool. Because like it's yeah, it's basically a smart watch, but built into your glasses, so you can ask. I mean, Siri is, let's be honest, is going to be the most like useful feature of it. But yeah.
Imagine talking to your glasses in public.
Well, bro, I remember whenever
Like
go.
you just touch and you're like, "Hey Siri," and like everyone's just gonna look at you like you're fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, until like it'll be like that until like a decent amount of people like get it, and then it'll become like kind of mainstream. Because I don't know, if you go back like 10 years ago or like yeah, 10 years ago or like maybe even a bit longer, whenever people had wireless earbuds and they were talking to people on the phone through their wireless earbuds, everyone used to think that they were crazy and they were just talking to themselves.
Dude, wireless earbuds back then compared to now, I feel
Yeah.
like it used to be so much more slimmer. Like like how in movies they have like those type of shit, like they type in the ear and they start talking type of thing.
Yeah.
It was basically that, but like slightly bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but do you remember like yeah, about like 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer, like if someone was wearing wireless earbuds and like they were talking, like most people didn't know that they were wearing earbuds and they just think that the person was crazy and then they were talking to themselves. But now
Yeah,
that AirPods and stuff has and like wireless earbuds in general have become more widespread, now people like usually you can tell like if the person's like on using earbuds or whatever. So I feel like if once Apple glasses and like obviously other companies are going to do similar things, once those become widespread enough, like people aren't gonna you know think you're like crazy anymore. And also in the last podcast I was talking about this with Sam, and he brought this up and it's actually really true. Have you watched Spider-Man Homecoming?
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, talking to Siri through the glasses is kind of like Spider-Man talking to the assistant inside his spider suit.
Hey, yeah, exactly. People would literally think he's crazy.
No, but bro, if you think about that, it's pretty cool because it's almost exactly like what Spider-Man saw whenever, or like Peter Parker saw whenever he was inside his Spider-Man suit. Like he could talk to it and like things would come up. Except that obviously there wouldn't be like the bluish tint. I believe there was a bluish tint inside the movie.
Actually,
Anyways,
I feel like no, okay. Actually, I feel like it'd be a better comparison if we saw a Spider-Man Far From Home, right?
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, like the Emmett glasses. Basically, the Emmett glasses. I feel like it's quite similar to the Apple glasses, but you're actually able to talk to it. You're basically able to interact with the world with the.
yeah. I feel like they wouldn't become like the glasses. They won't become much more widespread than like smart watches, if you get what I'm saying. Because I mean they're super cool and stuff, but they serve the same purpose as what Apple what the Apple Watch and other smart watches do. So I feel
Mhm.
like the main market for smart glasses would be obviously tech enthusiasts and also people who their smartwatch, they want to upgrade it to.
Yeah.
But instead of buying our smartwatch, they'll just buy a pair of smart glasses. Because apparently, Mark Zuckerberg, he said that Facebook might make their own version of what the Apple glasses are supposed to be. But obviously, like instead of only working on iPhone like the Apple glasses, it would work on Android too. Like those, depending like what the quality is and what the price is, I might buy those.
It would be cool. It'd be cool to have those things, like for it to be mainstream.
Yeah. Well, in fact, there's this augmented reality headset that Microsoft made that's out right now.
Know what you're talking? It's so expensive and huge.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. So basically, for those of you who don't know, it's basically like what the Apple glasses can do. You can look at your Outlook email. You can look at your Microsoft Calendar. You can
You can do
uh
more than that.
yeah. I
Like you
mean,
can actually interact, like touch it. You can interact with it.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
like
also
and
yeah, you
you
can.
have it. Like if you don't have the AI glasses, like if you could have an app on your iPad or your tablet, and you can interact it with the tablet if you don't have the AI glasses.
Well, I didn't know about that, but yeah, but yeah. So basically, yeah, and you can like talk to Cortana and stuff. Which I mean, I don't know. I wish there was a better assistant in there, but it is what it is. But yeah, so it's super cool. But the only problem is that they're huge and bulky, like a traditional VR headset is. Although these are AR, but they're still big and bulky, and they're 3 grand, I believe, is what the price was. So what
No,
app?
I think more 3 grand. Yeah, I think it was more than 3 grand. But yeah, like it's expensive.
Yeah, but like, yeah, the Apple glasses are basically gonna be that, but much more like sleeker, and like they'll look like a regular pair of glasses, and like only like 600 to $700. But yeah, so the Apple glasses I'm excited for, but I mean obviously because I use Android, I wouldn't use the Apple glasses, but then like I'd like to see what Facebook would come out with because they've talked about making their own version of smart glasses. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing what that's like.
Yeah,
Do,
it would really be interesting to see though.
dude, you were yawning the entire time.
I said, yeah, it would be interesting to see what would happen. Like, what would they like? What they do? What and how they try to accomplish that task.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm surprised Google gave up on the Google Glass because I feel like they were like going somewhere.
To
Huh?
be honest, it's pretty ugly. The glass
Yeah, the
itself.
Google Glass was pretty weird. So I guess we'll have to see what Apple comes out and then later on what Facebook might come out with. But
I'd love to see the design. I
yeah,
hope it turns out very slick and nice.
yeah. So do you have any more thoughts on AR/VR or
No, I think they covered a great portion of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I want to talk about like driving cars or folding phones.
Yeah, we can go about self-driving cars. I mean, personally, I don't. I know some people are like really freaked out about it because they're like, oh, what if like your car gets mad at you and like drives you off a cliff or some shit.
I'm mad at you. Of course, cars have emotions.
I mean, yeah, but bro, whenever AI gets integrated into there, like like further off in the future, who knows what's gonna happen? I don't think it's gonna
I
happen, but
really doubt it's gonna happen.
oh no, I doubt it's gonna
Like
happen too. But I mean, who knows, man?
computers are fucking stupid, man. They're dumb, right? You have to tell it to what to do. You have to teach it.
Ah, yes. Now wait till that bites you in the ass 30 years from now and your AI self-driving car kills you.
I mean, it'd be a pretty cool death though. Like driving off. Actually, never mind. That'd be a terrible death.
Yeah, bro.
Still kind of cool though.
Um, yeah, so basically, yeah, but personally, like, I'm actually excited for self-driving cars because, you already know this, but a lot of people don't drive very well.
I mean, even with driving cars, I mean, self-driving cars. For example, I'm pretty sure Tesla has a self-driving car, doesn't it?
Who?
Tesla.
Yeah, they're working on a prototype of self-driving car. Google too, I think.
Like, despite still having self-driving cars, like you're still going to have the need to drive, like have your hand on the wheel. like it'd be terrible. Like like if you like your self-driving car, like well, the self-driving cars, driving itself, and you're asleep in the car. That's terrible. Don't ever do that.
Oh yeah, I know, I get it. That's a bad idea. But yeah,
So
but
like, it wouldn't really make a huge difference. You know what I mean?
well, for now, I feel like in the future, like the car will be like smart enough to like actually like, drive itself with like little to no overlook. Now that means you should probably still overlook it,
But
but
like for that to succeed, it would have to like literally every single new model of vehicle would have to be a self-driving car, and it would have to interact with the with its light system. I'm talking about like the traffic lights, right?
yeah,
And the,
they would need what I think in order for this to succeed, they would need like this open source communication system that every single like like traffic light and self-driving car out there uses. You get what I'm saying?
like that would also mean that actually no, actually never mind. I was about to say like it would also mean that like a certain company would probably monopolize that area.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's why it would have to be open sourced.
oh yeah, yeah. Because that kind of reminds me like how, like electrical vehicles. I
Hmm.
don't think it was Tesla. I can be extremely wrong. I doubt it's Tesla. But it could be a complete different company. Basically, they were making a green car, which is basically like energy non-fuel car, right?
Hmm.
And they basically essentially gave the design out. Like anyone could have the design. Like it's up to public. Anyone
Okay.
can have the design. And basically the goal is basically to have non-fuel gas cars
Hmm.
by having those vehicle designs up. So, like, don't you think that's pretty nice and very
Yeah, I
innovative?
think yeah, I like it. think it's a good idea. I remember I once went to this was quite a few years ago, but I went with a friend to this car show in
Hmm.
downtown, and there was a bunch of like like different cars there, and Hyundai they were showing off a new car that they made, and like it wasn't really meant for like the general consumer, but it was kind of like more like of a prototype kind of thing to show like what they're capable of. And instead of taking fuel, the car ran on water.
That's actually very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I
I mean, I feel like it'd be great. Actually, no, because like salt would most likely be an engine. I was about to like it'd be great for it to be like seawater. You know what I mean? But
well, yeah, because I remember like I'm like okay, well it has to be at least some kind of water, and like I looked at like the chart and just pure H2O, just like regular water was is what you're supposed to
so you
use.
can't use ocean water then.
No, no, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, 'cause once again, this isn't really made for your general consumer. It's just more like what they're capable of. But yeah, it would probably have to be fresh
Salt,
water.
salt, destroys engine. It's not good to have salt in
Yeah,
your engine. Like I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory because it's salt.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, just imagine. I mean, this is probably not gonna happen, but imagine like someone like instead of going to the gas station, you just turn on your hose and fill up your tank with your hose water.
like that'd be. It'd also be a waste of water.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it'd be better than using fossil fuels.
I think solar power, like the payback would be long. For example, like the time, for example, let's say we have wind power energy, right?
Yeah.
When you ask like the cost of that versus the payback, it'll take a couple years for them to
Yeah.
make money back.
Well, I
It
know,
takes so much.
nuclear power plants. Those are apparently, those are better for the environment than wind and like solar and like all that. But the
And I
reason,
heard that
yeah, but the reason why most countries don't have them is because they're so controversial. Like, whenever you take, you know Chernobyl, right?
uh,
Yeah, so yeah, so because of the Chernobyl disaster, which basically made like, I don't know, a further half of Ukraine uninhabitable for the next like 10,000 years or some shit. That's whenever a lot of people started like not liking nuclear power. Then Japan did try nuclear power, but apparently what ended up happening is that there was some, the 2011, I think it was, Japanese tsunami, it ended up hitting the power plant, and then like the water was all like radioactive, and it like brought up the amount of deaths by like a ton. So a lot of people, because of those like incidents and stuff like that, a lot of people have a bad perspective of nuclear energy. But it's supposed to be a lot like better for the environment than even solar and wind because well, first of all, it produces a lot more energy than both solar and wind do. Like if you look at the amount of energy that a nuclear power plant produces compared to a solar panel farm or like a wind farm, it produces so much more. And also wind farms especially, they have some bad effects on the environment because in order to make a wind farm and also solar power farms, you'd have to like cut down an entire like forest in order to make room for all these things. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to cut down an entire like area full of trees just to make room for these windmills and these solar like yeah, these solar panels. And also for windmills, because of whenever it spins, apparently it changes the air pressure around it. And if a bird or a bat or like some animal flies by, it's not good for their lungs, and apparently like it'll just like kill the animal and stuff. Because that's something I read a lot about too. Like a lot of birds and like bats are dying because they're flying by windmills, and then it changes the air pressure and like basically kills them.
So I feel like the safest non-dangerous to animal energy would be solar power energy.
Yeah, but I mean, all you for solar power, you still need to cut down the forest if you get what I'm saying, because it's a huge
Right.
swamp.
Yeah, because it's huge.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I'm a big believer in nuclear energy because it's a lot well, it's better for the environment than both solar and wind, and also produces a lot more electricity than either solar or wind combined. Because let's say it's very cloudy or it's raining, you're not getting any electricity from your solar power, and if it's like not very windy, you're not getting much electricity from your windmills. But like nuclear energy, as long as you have the radiation, then you can keep making electricity. But the only reason why most people don't like nuclear energy is because of, like I said, Chernobyl, the 2011 Japanese tsunami, and stuff like that. But apparently, from what I've heard, the newer like power plants, nuclear power plants, they have like more like technology like computers built in, and apparently if it like starts to overreact like overheat, it'll like cool it down automatically, or like even shut it down if it's bad enough, or let's say there's no like humans like taking care of it for like 3 or 4 days, it'll shut itself down automatically. So yeah, so I mean that's why I'm a big believer in nuclear energy because it's better for the environment. It produces more electricity, and the newer models of them are, like pretty safe.
I wonder how nuclear power plant works.
They basically like they do something with the radiation, and it creates electricity or some shit. I don't know. I learned about it a long time ago, like years and years ago.
Uh,
Mhm.
okay.
But to get back to self-driving cars, the main reason I'm excited for it is because I feel like a lot of the perils on the road, like of people just badly driving, are gonna go away. Like, bro, like some of the people I've seen drive is horrible. There was one guy, okay, I was walking my neighbor's dog, okay, and I was with my brother, and on this
Okay.
street we see this guy driving in reverse, like about 40 kilometers an hour down the road. Like he was driving in reverse down just like some road in 40 kilometers an hour.
It, that's a pretty bad driver. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty young, so like I'm not good at driving either.
Yeah. No, but
Like I'm learning though.
that's not like a mistake. Like he was purposely going 40 kilometers an hour in reverse down a road. Like,
Trying to do some Tokyo drift type of shit.
well, yeah, because I like usually like whenever someone does some dumb shit like that, like it's probably like a teenager or some shit. But like like because he's like happy because he got his new car, which doesn't excuse it. It's still extremely stupid. But this guy was like some 50-year-old guy, and he was like all alone in the car, and he was just driving in reverse at like 40 kilometers an hour. Like,
So,
yeah, like who
that
does
sounds
that?
very like a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I was just like, what is this guy doing? And then there was this other guy. He was driving down my street, and you know how like a snake like slivers and stuff.
That's basically what the car was doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what the car was doing. I
I
almost
actually drive like that. You know what I mean? It's like I've seen it so many times in movies, but never in real life.
yeah, bro. I mean, yeah, he
Sounds
was.
like your neighborhood is filled with shitty drivers.
It is, yes, it is. And you know what the thing on top of all this is? Because we're inside a developed country, okay? And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know this, but like people in developed countries, people are generally better at driving. Like that's just a fact. In developed countries, on average, people are better at driving. So imagine if you went to some like a developing country and you saw how the people drove there. Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
no, the road conditions aren't as good though, so kind of makes
no,
sense.
it does, but it's also just the etiquette of driving. Like, the no one really knows why, but one theory is that you know how inside a developed country we've had cars for a long time. Like, you know, your parents have had a car, your grandparents have had a car, and for some people, even their great grandparents have had a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this theory that like over the generations, this kind of like road etiquette of like what's a good thing to do, what's a bad thing to do, like towards other drivers. There's a theory that over the generations, this road etiquette has been developed, but if you go to developing countries, a lot of these countries were like super super poor until just recently because of globalization. A ton of money has come into those developing countries, either for like manufacturing or like in the case of India, high tech jobs. Like yeah, recently a lot of money has come into these countries. So a lot of these people, they're like the first generation of their family to start driving. So there's a theory that because of that, this road etiquette that exists in the West doesn't exist inside these countries.
Yeah. Each
Hang
country
on.
is different, so they're obviously gonna have different road etiquettes.
Yeah. Okay. So each country, has their own etiquette. But yeah, in developing countries, the driving is like it's been proven that it's worse, and that's based off of personal experience, but also like they've done research, and there are more accidents in developing countries. Yes, because of roads, but also because the driving etiquette and like respect the other driver mentality isn't always there.
Countries, each country they all have different etiquettes, right? For
Yeah.
example, like UK is a pretty developed country. It's a developed country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Driving etiquettes aren't the same as say for the US, right? We live in Canada, but the etiquettes, driving etiquette aren't the same. I feel like they're most likely to piss someone off down in the US than compared to in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which just shows that like each country has their own etiquettes, but those in less developed countries, etiquettes aren't as good as actually I wouldn't say good because definition of good is different for everyone, but like like as standardized or normal compared to other developed countries.
Well, I know because whenever I went to Puerto Rico, which I mean isn't even a poor country because it's part of the U.S., but it is a poor region of the U.S. When it like, dude, crossing the street for my hotel was the scariest shit ever. Okay, over there, I'm telling you, like the green light, yellow light, and red light. Over there, those things are optional. I swear.
You're lying.
Okay, no, well, no, technically they're like technically you're supposed to stop and like but no one does it. Nobody does it. Like it'll be like a red light and people are just driving through at like like 80 kilometers an hour, like 90 kilometers an hour, even though it's like red or yellow or whatever.
That's scary though. Not
Yeah,
gonna
it's
lie.
scary. Like literally, what'll happen is that so we're wait like it's a green light, so the cars are going by and shit. and we're waiting for the red light, okay? And then it's the red light, and like, okay, we can cross. People are still zooming through there, and it's not only a few people. Like everyone is still going through like that street, going through the red light at like 80 kilometers an hour, 90 kilometers an hour. And then every once in a while, you'll have like two or three cars that stop, even though it's no matter if it's a red light or a green light, they'll just stop to let you go through. Okay, but then like we look at them weird because it's a green light. They're supposed to be going. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like yeah, they're supposed to be going because it's a green light, but then they just stop because they want to let us pass. And then like there's other people zooming through, so obviously we don't want to go because we don't want to die. And then the people driving who just stop in the middle of the road to let us pass it, even if it's a green light or a red light, they're so confused and they just go. So, bro, it took us probably like 10 minutes to wait till all the traffic slowed down just to cross it. Cause literally, there was always people driving through, whether it was green, yellow, or red light. Like over there was optional.
Dude, now that makes me not want to go there, like on a trip,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and some places are worse. For example, apparently China is like one of the worst. So you know how like there's highways, right? And like people, they'll go like 90, 100 kilometers down the highway. And sometimes there's houses on the side of the highways and like people they'll like start to pull out and then they'll wait till it's clear and then they'll go. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, apparently in China, like people who live like on the side of like busy roads or highways, whenever they pull out their driveway, they don't even look. They just pull out and they don't care if there's a car coming or what.
I was about to say, like, since, billions of people live in China, that, I feel like they're prone to be more accidents there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like, they would also have good etiquette there too.
No,
I mean, I
they
feel like
don't,
it
cause
depends where you live in China. You know what I mean?
what?
Like, depends on where you live in China, though. And certain parts are richer.
Yeah, I know, but you
Um,
gotta understand though that that just makes it worse, because China gained a lot of wealth very fast. So you
mm,
so you have this next generation of because there's really from what I understand, there's two reasons why apparently driving in China is so bad. One is that it gained a lot of wealth very fast. So you have a lot of people who they're the first generation their family driving, and they're buying these super fast cars because they can afford it. Even though and there's like no etiquette there, so there's no etiquette and everyone's driving super fast. You get what I'm saying? Like yeah, apparently it's a normal thing for people to be pulling out of their driveways on like highways or like super like popular roads, and they won't even look whenever they pull out. They just pull out, and like if there's a car there, also be it.
honestly, I wanted to go to China just once. That's scary now. I don't want to go to China no more.
And then you also have like inside other countries like well China and also like some countries in Eastern Europe, you'll
Mm,
have two cars like there'll be a red light, okay, and you'll have two cars stop like at the intersection like normal, okay?
okay.
And apparently it's not uncommon, like it doesn't happen all the time, but it's not uncommon to see a car try to go through those two cars and through the intersection.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Yo, people are pretty stupid nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah, bro. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I feel like self-driving cars are gonna help with a lot of that shit too.
Maybe. I feel like people are still probably gonna still drive regular cars too in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially like where it's like worse in the poor countries, a lot of people aren't gonna be able to afford the self-driving cars. You get what I'm saying? Until they become
Yeah,
like super
it's
cheap.
being mostly used in developed countries.
Yeah, well, I mean that's still good because I mean, while it's not as bad in developed countries, there's still a lot of bad drivers. Like I said earlier, the person driving in reverse or the person slithering across my street.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
we touched quite a lot about cars.
yeah.
We also touched a lot about other things too, but most, this topic is self-driving cars. I feel like we touched a lot. Do you have anything new to say, or?
Yeah. I just feel like people, if the car takes like there's this drive itself, people aren't going to be as stupid. Also, driving drunk and driving high is obviously going to go down a lot. Uh,
Really, I don't know. I feel like, like, like we still sort of have driving cars here, but it's still pretty stupid. Like, like as I told you, there was that one person that like drove while asleep. That's pretty stupid to do.
Yeah, well, because I don't, I feel like whenever people drive drunk, literally, I feel like they do it for one of two reasons. Either because they're too cheap to pay for a taxi or an Uber or something, or they're like too prideful. So they're like, oh no, I can still drive. Like there's a lot of like pride. Like they're like, oh yeah, I can still drive. So yeah, but I feel like self-driving cars is gonna cut down on that a lot.
I feel like most people who drink tend to drink with friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then because of that, since like if you're gonna go out drinking, have a self-designated drive bag.
Hmm.
Like let's say I was 21 plus.
Hmm.
I like I wouldn't really drink. I mean, I'd probably drink once in a while, but I wouldn't really drink. But like
Hmm.
I'd be most likely the designated driver most of the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and then there's some people where like literally they don't fit, like literally at the end whenever they're about to go out, they're like, oh yeah, who's our designated driver? And they hadn't established it beforehand, and then they're like all drunk.
Okay, I know that like legally, it's a law that um the bartenders are able to refuse, giving services to other
Yeah,
patrons.
but they don't do that.
Sometimes you do, but
But
yeah.
usually the
You,
owner will pressure them not to
like,
do that, cause like
yeah, no, I feel like they should make it a law that you know that you're forced to like call, taxi or an Uber for them. Like if they're all drunk, right? Like
yeah.
before entering, like if they're entering in a group, you have to ask who's the designated person.
Well, I know
Yeah,
at bars, like it's illegal for a bar like tender to keep serving alcohol to someone if they're clearly drunk. You get what I'm saying? Like it's illegal. You have to like give them food or like water to sober up. But a lot of like places don't respect that law because they'll always use the excuse of, well, I couldn't, I didn't know they were drunk, or some shit like that. Because like their boss will like pressure them to keep selling to those, to the people who are drunk in order to make more money, because those are the people who would spend the most money. So their bosses are pressuring them, and then if the police ever ask a question, they'll just be like, oh, I didn't know he was drunk, and they'll like really only kick the people out if they're causing a problem or something, or like trying to get into a fight.
yeah, yeah. That's why I said like before like I feel like they should make it legally where like before entering you have to ask the group who's the self-designated driver,
Yeah, it makes
and
sense.
then which means that only one person, right? Or if there is none, then they have to make sure that they pay like an Uber fee,
Okay.
like, or a taxi fee,
Hmm.
and then they get driven home.
Yeah. So, is that? Do you have anything else to say about self-driving cars?
I mean, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So now, I think the most logical step would be to like to talk about 5G and 6G, because that's what that's what's gonna these cars are gonna use to communicate with each other. Now, we were talking a bit about this during or before the podcast. 5G is really cool. The only like you can get like over a gigabyte and like over a gigabyte a second speeds. The only problem is that because it's so dense, like all kinds of things can disturb it. Like even rain could slow down your speed, like you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, like it literally disturbs.
Yeah, like 5G, like they're like I know on this I think it was a Samsung commercial, they were advertising one of their 5G phones, and they're like, "Oh, you can download like I don't know, 8 4K movies in like 10 seconds or some shit like that." I don't know, it's probably yeah, something like that. But if we're going to be honest, that's not what people are going to use it for. Like I do you really see yourself downloading 8 4K movies on your phone?
Maybe I mean I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, but your phone doesn't even
Like
have a 4K screen.
I mean I'm pretty sure new phones
No, no,
are gonna have
no. Most are you talking about the ones out now or in the future?
the future. Like most expensive phones now.
I
Uh,
know
which keep-
I know Sony, they have a few phones which are in 4K. Maybe Asus too, but I'm not sure. But other than that, I don't think any other phone has a 4K screen because it's not really worth it because the screen is so small that it's not really worth the 4K if you get what I'm saying.
Very true, true, true. That is very true.
Yeah. What it's mostly gonna be used for is like obviously like it'll be like faster downloads, faster uploads, stuff like that. But where it's really gonna shine will be like well self-driving cars and also like controlling robots at a distance. Now, what I mean by the robots is because you know how you shake like as a human like if you try and put your finger very very still or like your hand, you'll realize that it'll shake a bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like everyone's like that, and it's like it's really difficult to control it. Because of that, certain very precise surgeries, like brain surgeries, I'm pretty sure is one of them. What they'll do is that they literally, like for certain parts of the operation, they won't let anyone hold the tools with their hands because that little bit of shaking can like like screw up the person's brain or like whatever organ they're operating on. So what they have is that they have the person control a robotic arm, and then that robotic arm has the tools. Now, that's what they use now. And what 5G apparently is supposed to make them do is that the person will be able to control the robotic arm, but from a distance. So like they could be like 2, 3 blocks away, and they can control the robotic arm remotely. So that's what they're planning on doing. Because if you think about it, it'll be very efficient. Because then the doctor doesn't have to. If he can control the robots remotely, they don't have to commute everywhere. You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, and
But
also, go
most
ahead.
people would still get out of
Yeah.
having a robot, like a robot arm in the brain instead of the human.
Well, that's what I mean. A lot of brain surgeries already do that. But
I
the
know.
only thing is that the doctor is in the room controlling it, or like one room down the hall. But 5G will allow the doctor to be like 2 or 3 blocks away, and the latency will be so small that it'll still work well enough. And also, like we were talking about earlier, self-driving cars. 5G is going to be like the base technology for self-driving cars to be able to talk to each other kind of thing and like make it more cohesive and like less accidents on the road.
I'm very interested in knowing what's gonna happen if I change 6G, like like in the
Mhm.
main use, like in everyday use, right? Like
Yeah.
what would most people do with it?
Well, if self-driving cars do become mainstream, it'll obviously be used for the cars, but that's not really something that you directly interact with. But I feel like the main use would mainly just be to would mainly just be to for faster app installs and like faster media downloads, so like pictures, movies, audio. I feel like that would just be the main use, just simple stuff like that for the everyday person.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Now for 6G, I mean, like developed countries are just now rolling out their 5G. But like yeah, but 6G, from what I've heard at least, most countries, or sorry, not most countries, but the companies who work on this equipment for like wireless networks, so like for example Huawei and Samsung and I think Ericsson too, these countries or I mean these companies usually because it takes so long for carriers to roll out the new technology, they'll usually have a working prototype of the next gen of wireless like data transfer um like 10 years, maybe even like 12 or 13 years before it even comes out. Like I heard that apparently Samsung in one of their buildings, they already have like a working 6G internet, and I think one of their partners has already made a chip that's capable of running on 6G, although it's still in a prototype. But yeah, so
I remember you talking about that, and I read I no, I don't think it was an article. Like I read that somewhere on Google. It was very interesting though.
Yeah, because I mean, it takes. I mean, especially if you look at big countries like Canada or the U.S. Like you obviously you got to put inside all the different cities, the 5G in all the different cities. But also, if you want the 5G speeds on all the highways, like you have long highways like the Trans Canada, like that goes from like west coast to east coast, and like putting 5G on that would be quite expensive and quite difficult. Yeah, so 5G the rollout, especially in big countries like Canada and the US, is gonna take a really long time. And yeah, even before like we see 6G, like you need to wait till most people have 5G phones because the only I mean Samsung is coming out with a lot of 5G phones, and also like Google and Apple recently came out with their flagship 5Gs. But need to wait, um whenever you need to wait for most people to upgrade to 5G phones, so whether they have an older Samsung and they're upgrading to a newer Samsung with 5G, or they're upgrading to the new iPhones that just were announced, I believe last week, or newer whatever, you'll need to wait for a lot of people to upgrade to 5G smartphones, and obviously the rollout across big countries is going to take a long time. And I mean, there's even like some remote communities in Canada, like up north and stuff, where they're still on 3G. Like they don't even have 4G or LTE yet, because they're so remote and there's so little money to be made all the way up north there. So and I know I've heard rural America, their internet speeds are quite poor. So yeah, so the rollout of 5G is probably going to take a while. And 6G is probably like 12 years, like anywhere from I'd say between 10 and 13 years in um in the future. But yeah, but I still find it really interesting that companies like Samsung already have working 6G prototypes. And yeah, 6G is going to be an enhancement to 5G, and like I said earlier, 5G is going to be like the groundwork for self-driving cars to talk to each other. But 6G is expected to be what'll make them like all be able to talk to each other, because while 5G will be the groundwork, it doesn't carry enough data to have, like, let's say everyone had self-driving cars. 5G would not have the enough data, like not transmit enough data fast enough to have all the cars on the road talk to each other, and like avoid accidents. It can only do it for like a few cars, like maybe like five different self driving cars talk to each other. But 6G is expected to be capable of having basically like all the cars on the road talk to each other. So let's say you were inside traffic in, like, I don't know, downtown Manhattan, and everyone had a self-driving car. 6G is expected to have all those cars talk to each other, and like in a timely manner. So yeah, so right now we should probably just focus on 5G, because I mean, it hasn't even come out in most places yet. But yeah, so 6G also seems pretty interesting. So yeah, so David, do you have anything else to add on 5G/6G?
I feel like it. Okay, the only thing I would like to add is 5G is very fast, right? You can download gigabytes, right? Like one
Yeah,
gigabyte,
yeah, over
two
one
gigabytes.
gigabyte in some places, like per second.
Exactly. Because of that, right? It would mean that the frequency of it is a lot lower, I believe. Yeah, it's a lot lower, which means that could be easily disrupted.
No, I think
Now,
it's
if
higher because it's like bigger waves.
no, actually, the frequency is a lot higher. My bad. The frequency is a lot higher. Like, the higher it is, the faster it goes.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it means that could easily be disrupted. Um,
Hmm.
if it can be easily disrupted, imagine 6G. So what would that be like? I feel like that. Like I feel like imagine like putting your hand between something. I feel like 6G could be disrupted by that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right?
so now that I think another thing which will be really important inside the mobile space is folding phones. Now, there's already some folding phones out, like the I know the Galaxy Fold, the Galaxy Fold 2, the Galaxy Z Flip. I think they might have a Z Flip too. There's obviously one that Microsoft came out with recently, which a lot of people just don't like. And then there's the one by I think the Huawei one has come out,
There's the
and
one by Motorola. Have you seen that one? It's
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
the Razer, yeah,
yeah, it's basically a flip phone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The I know the Galaxy Z Flip is also very similar to that, but those kinds of ones where like it's kind of like a flip phone, I don't see the use for it.
The flip phones.
Yeah, like because whenever you take something like the Galaxy Fold or the I think the Huawei Mate X is either out or it's gonna come out. Whenever it unfolds like a tablet, then it makes sense because it's like a normal phone whenever folded up. Whenever it's not, it's like a tablet kind of thing. But whenever you have something like the Motorola Razr, which is obviously done for nostalgia purposes, and whenever you have something like the Galaxy Z Flip, I fail to see like what's the point of that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Galaxy Z Flip and the Motorola Razr, I can't really see it being of practical use, but something like the Galaxy Fold or even like a more developed version of what Microsoft came out with, I can see that being really useful.
Dude, foldable phones are basically tablets, but just foldable.
Yeah, well, I mean, at first I was really like into the idea of foldable phones, but then as they came out, like they seem really cool, but at least for now, they're not practical. Like I wouldn't, because I remember the whenever the first Galaxy Fold came out, there was all kinds of durability problems that they actually had to recall it and re-release it. And then you have the one that Microsoft recently came out with, which apparently the specs are like whatever. Well, I don't remember what the price is, but like you were having like 2 year old specs in some cases, 1 to 2 year old specs, and it's the software on it is like super buggy. So yeah, I mean at least for now, they're not really practical, and I wouldn't really recommend anyone to replace their regular phone with one.
I feel like most foldable look at it. Not like how they use plastic as their screen.
Yeah, because they use OLED because it's flexible, and then instead of glass on top, it's plastic. Yeah.
I feel like instead what they should have done, not like between it is basically a wedge. Basically, there's two screens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just it's a basic wedge that's plastic. Like on the side, so the middle is a plastic screen, but the sides is a glass screen. The only thing that's bending is the plastic screen.
Hmm. That's
I feel like
interesting. Yeah.
be nice instead of it just being fully plastic. I know it probably costs a little bit more, but
Yeah.
that'd be it would look so much more nicer compared to if it
Yeah.
was just all plastic, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I find they're cool in concept, but a lot of the ones that came out like so far are not practical and they're way too expensive.
Yeah, that is extremely true.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
don't. Hmm?
I really wouldn't go out of my way to buy a portable phone, to
I
be honest.
wouldn't. I wouldn't use it as my daily driver just because of the all the bugs and like the durability problems. Okay,
Like,
so I mean that was a pretty short subject. Is there anything else you want to add, or do you want to move on to AI?
let's talk about AI. I feel like there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to AI compared to portable phones.
Yeah, well, AI is really cool. But at the same time, some of the stuff it can do is kind of scary, if you get what I'm saying.
To be honest, the way that I see AI is the same way I see as a kid, right? Like, like kids are smart, well, dumb, but they can be smart if you teach it. You know,
Yeah,
it's basically AI too. Like AI is like stupid, but it can be smart if you feed it information, if you tell it what to do.
yeah. I
Which
mean,
is,
that's how a traditional like computer works. But the AI can actually start learning on its own.
uh, it can, and I feel like that's pretty. beautiful. Not gonna lie, that's very interesting.
Yeah, but it's gonna have to be controlled though. That's the thing.
Why you think it's gonna go against humanity and kill humanity because they realize it's a bad humanity like terrible people?
I mean, bro. I mean, I know you're saying this as a joke, but it could actually happen. You know that, right?
X to doubt.
Dude, even what's his name? Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba.
He hates AI.
Yeah, he basically said that if whenever if AI becomes like a big thing, in order for humans to stay relevant, we will have to really focus on creativity because that's one thing that humans can do that AI can't really do is be creative. And I know Elon Musk, you know how he's trying to he's working on something to implant like a microchip in the brain or some shit.
Is he?
Yeah, he's already done it with a rat where he wants to do it with like like humans within like a few decades from now where you implant a microchip inside your brain and like it kind of turns you into a cyborg kind of thing. It's kind of weird. Like I
Why?
would
How would it even wake? Like, how would you even connect it to a brain?
well, he's done it with a rat with he's done it with rats with varying degrees of success. But yeah, basically it's basically this chip that you'll connect into your brain and it'll let you like think and like I mean like your thoughts will be able to interact with like your phone and like your car and stuff. It's kind of weird.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool, but I wouldn't take it because like think about it. Like, imagine like if someone like at that point someone can basically like hack your brain, which is I mean not a situation you want to be in. You get what I'm saying? Like it's pretty weird.
About how it would even connect to the brain. You know what I mean? How would it even work?
Well, it's basically because he's done it on rats. So basically, you know how there's like all kinds of like nervous systems that like carry electricity for your body, and there's a lot of them in your brain.
Yeah.
They'd hook it up the microchip to those things, and then like to the nervous system, so then it can access different parts of your brain.
What exactly would it be accessing to? That's my question.
Well, it depends where it's placed. Yeah, it depends where it's placed. It can access maybe your memories, maybe your reading abilities, maybe memorization.
I don't know. I feel like it'd fuck up a brain more than
Yeah,
than help
exactly.
it.
That's why I'm not gonna take it. That's yeah, it's so sketch. Like but yeah, basically he's already have prototypes of it on different mice and rats. But apparently the reason he's doing it is because he believes that in order for humans to stay relevant once AI becomes really big, we'd have to become basically cyborgs in order for we have the best of both worlds. We have like the smarts of a computer of a robot, like just like the knowledge of a robot, but you keep the creativity that humans have.
I mean, I'm pretty sure didn't Elon? Okay. I remember watching this content with Elon Musk and founder and Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba.
Hmm.
Alibaba is against AI, and Elon Musk was basically kind of like I wouldn't say defending AI, but he was. I'm pretty like from the video he was like thinking that Jack Ma is pretty stupid. You know what I mean? He was like, "What are you
Okay.
on about AI?" Right? And Jack Ma was just talking about AI and bashing it.
Hmm. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we'd have to be very careful in the development of AI because, like how science fiction novels, for example, there's the rules of robotics, like it can't harm another human and like it has to obey your commands unless if it's to harm someone. You know, like those rules of robotics in science fiction.
Yeah, yeah. I get yeah.
Yeah. So what a lot of people have been thinking is like, okay, so in order to avoid AI like taking over, we basically program those fundamental like rules into the AI so like it can't harm a person and like stuff like that. But the only problem with that is that there's bugs, you get what I'm saying? And if there's a bug that's big enough, maybe it could the bug could affect some of those rules, and it'll make the robot like ignore those rules and stuff like that.
I mean, I really doubt AI is going to be perfect to the point, but it'll go against humans.
Wait, so you don't think it's gonna take over?
I doubt.
I don't think it's gonna happen in the near future, but I think well, whenever it's further developed, then it could take over maybe. Because I mean, we don't know a whole lot about this stuff.
You think it'll take over?
Maybe I think if we're careful, it's not going to. But if we just rush into the AI development carelessly and because whenever a software is rushed, it'll have a lot of bugs, right? Like I mean,
Of course.
that's yeah. Because I feel like if a bunch of companies rush it and they release very buggy AIs and they don't pay a lot of attention to the quality of the code, then you could run into some big issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see what
I feel like it should be government regulated.
you think you feel like.
No, I think it should be government regulated.
To be honest, I'm pretty indifferent about the whole thing. Not gonna lie, I'm very indifferent about the whole thing.
Hmm.
Because, like, from my opinion, I really doubt that it's gonna go against people.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe because I remember I watched this video, okay? And basically this guy was saying that with AI there's one of two possibilities, okay? Either it's the end of the world and like it kills everyone and everyone dies and it's literally like apocalyptic, or it's the best thing that ever happens to humanity because the AI is so smart that it helps us develop all kinds of new medicines, and like it helps develop all kinds of new technology to help the environment. So like it saves us from global warming. It helps with poverty. It gets rid of famine and poverty. It ends global warming. It finds out a cure for cancer, a cure for AIDS, and stuff like that. So yeah, so the guy that I watch, he's saying either it's gonna destroy humanity or be the best thing that ever happens to it.
Um, uh, yeah. To be honest, I'm very indifferent about the AI thing. Yeah, I just find technology pretty interesting. I'd love to see AI in everyday uses.
Well, it's already used in every day.
I mean, like even more, like even more in our life.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but AI is inside almost everything now. Like for example, most smartphone or actually, yeah, most smartphone cameras have AI built in. Whether you're using an Apple, a Samsung, a Huawei, a Google Pixel.
Have to see how like it's able to determine the quality of lighting. Like if it's
Yeah,
getting more light or not.
yeah, and also like if you're using portrait mode for the blur and stuff. So yeah, so I mean, even something as simple as taking a photo with your with your with your smartphone, it uses AI. Whenever you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, the recommendations are run through AI. Obviously, Siri and Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa and all of that uses AI. Um, I mean, yeah, I know even even just using your phone takes AI. Because a lot of phones, or actually, I'm not sure about a lot, but I know Google does this, and I believe Samsung to a certain point. They'll have an AI look at your usage patterns for your phone, then they'll optimize your battery life accordingly.
Really? I actually did not know that. Cause like okay, cause like I already knew that like your phone was able to tell what apps you've been on and what apps took the most battery, but I didn't know that it would optimize it.
Yeah, well, I know because I noticed this because I remember on Samsung, it does this. I'm not sure if it uses AI. I would imagine so, but I'm not sure because when I first got my phone, my Samsung phone, the battery life was not very good. Like for the first 3 or 4 days, it wasn't crap battery life, but it wasn't like what I paid for. If you get what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Then, then about a week in, the battery life jumped up by a whole lot. Okay, and then I'm like, well, how come it was like bad before and now it's like super good? And apparently, I went into the settings and on into the battery settings. I found out that apparently the first few days it was learning my usage patterns. So it was looking at what apps I use the most and like like how a bunch of things about like the apps I use the most and what I do and like stuff like that. And then it optimized the battery life in order to like it optimized the battery life in order to work better with my usage patterns. Now, if Samsung, I'm not sure if that uses AI. I believe it would. But yeah, and I know Google on their Pixel phones, they also have one that's supposed to work really well because every time a Pixel phone comes out, it has a subpar battery and everyone trashes it. But there was a few people, they're like, if you use your phone for a while and you don't only use it for like 2 weeks, the battery life will actually get better because it learns your usage patterns and optimizes it accordingly. And apparently it's noticeable.
Actually, that's pretty cool, though, don't you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. Dude, I was super impressed because I mean, then you don't you get a better battery life for less money because they don't have to pay for like a bigger battery.
But I don't know. I feel like there's nothing really to be scared about AI. I really doubt that it's gonna go against us because like we're the ones designing it, right?
Yeah,
So like you would know what would be entering or what would be written. So
yeah, but I know apparently you don't always know because right now they have bots like apparently some maybe there's certain AIs that maybe Google Assistant is one of them, but although I'm not sure. But there's certain AIs where like that exists right now where most of their code isn't even written by humans. They learn and then they write their own code to make themselves better. And like there's certain AIs that are out now where the majority of the code is written by the AI itself.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent. I just like AI. I think AI is cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool, but I think it should be regulated. Cause
Like government or companies.
huh?
Government or companies.
Government. Cause companies like I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but I've noticed this within the last few years because it's been so competitive the tech market. Companies are rushing new features, right? They're rushing new updates, they're rushing new app updates to add all these new features that stay competitive and relevant, right? Yeah, but as we know, whenever software is rushed, there's bugs. So for example, that's why iOS 13 and Mac OS Catalina were so buggy. It's because they were rushed, and that's what's happening to a lot of companies. Like every time there's a major OS upgrade, there's a bunch of new bugs, and obviously that's normal for a lot of changes, but it seems to be happening more often now because things are being rushed. So I don't want AI to be rushed, and then there's a bunch of bugs, which could cause it maybe to not always follow the safety protocols for like it doesn't like hurt a human or some shit too.
Yeah, I see where you're coming at.
Yeah, and then
I'm very indifferent about the whole thing. I know I said that like 1,000 times, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then you like I said, you take into consideration that for some AI technologies, most of the code isn't even written by humans, and I don't know, it seems it's pretty scary in a way.
I mean, a learning AI is pretty cool. AI to me,
Hmm.
like I said, the way I view AI is basically the same way I view kids. I
Yeah,
know that probably sounds terrible, but like,
yeah, I know, but then the problem is what happens whenever those kids become adults.
yeah, then that kid would be independent.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing could happen to the AI, which would be pretty scary. Like I know there's some people like there's some programmers and stuff who are like they're saying they're telling people that they should start preparing for I don't know the AI apocalypse. I mean I don't think we should go that far now, but I mean like
Yeah,
whenever
it's
you have
awesome.
yeah, I mean like whenever they're saying you should start setting up defenses around your house for whenever AI tries to take over. Like there's some top programmers that are saying that too.
What defense would you even do?
Well, I mean, for example, you could make it, electromagnetic fields things.
And how do you make one?
Oh, I don't know how to, but apparently you can. I mean, obviously it's expensive to buy the equipment, but you can buy it too. I mean, I wouldn't, but yeah. I mean, you can buy the equipment to make one.
Oh, not gonna lie, when he, that kind of reminds me like that one. There was like this one flex day, right? Right. Um, they cruised in the U.S. So basically, one of the state was being hit by a tsunami, right? Which means that the neighbors got flooded. But before then, one of the neighbors was like preparing, was setting up things
Yeah.
for for the flood, and people like looked at him because he looked crazy, right? He basically had like floaties around, you know,
Okay.
floaties, sandbags around his house and all that. But like
Yeah.
as soon as the tsunami hit, right, it turns out he was fine. Like his neighborhood ended up like flooding, and then
Hmm.
like at the end, everyone like who laughed at him ended up asking him for help because he was fine, completely fine, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I feel like there should be because if you think about, there's some things that AI can already do that's pretty crazy. Like, do you know what Google Duplex is?
Not really. I'm not gonna pretend I do.
Okay. Well, basically, what it is that it's this I think like it was about a year ago, maybe a bit longer, and it's this Google Assistant feature, and it's super cool, yet it's super like kind of scary at the same time. So basically, let's say you're like super busy, okay? And like but you still need to book like let's say a doctor's appointment, okay? You can ask your Google Assistant to book the appointment for you. And it's not only for doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, haircut appointment,
I mean,
um
isn't that a normal thing? I feel
what?
like everyone kind of expects that now.
No, but it's not. The assistant does it. Look, you ask the assistant to, like, oh, can you book me a reservation at, I don't know, insert X restaurant, right? Like, book me a reservation at X restaurant for 6 p.m. And then, basically, what happens is that the assistant, your Google Assistant, calls that restaurant, okay? And then it puts on a human voice, like a very convincing human voice, and then you have the AI that sets up your appointment.
Are you saying that it talks for us?
Yes, I can send you a video of it, but basically what it does is that, Sundar Pichai, he showed it off. So basically, he's like, okay, so I'm gonna ask my Google Assistant here to book me a haircut appointment, okay? So basically, he's like, he says the keywords. I'm not gonna say because I don't want my phone to go off, but he says the keywords, and then he's
Mhm.
like, um, book me, uh, book me a haircut appointment at such and such, hairdresser.
And
Okay,
then
so basically, so he's like, he says the keywords, and he's like, book me a hair appointment at such and such location, and then he shows on the big screen, Google Assistant. It shows Google Assistant calling this place. Okay, and then the lady who works there picks up, and she's like, "Hello, how can I help you today?" Then Google Assistant takes the form of a human voice, and it's like, "Hey, I'm the assistant of such and such person. Um, I would like to book him an appointment for 4 o'clock today." And then the person, like the worker is like, okay, they'll I ask questions about it, about the thing, and then you have the AI talking like as if it was a normal person inside a conversation.
that's cool.
It's cool, but it's also really weird because obviously we can see how that can be misused.
That kind of reminds me like those scammer calls we get. Like, you know what I mean, right? Like those scam calls
Yeah,
we get.
I know the automated voice ones.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah,
But like less sophisticated though.
yeah, it's like that, but like this actually sounds like an actual person, and it's not a recording either, because it's like the AI comes up with it. So like you can be like Nate, like book me a reservation at such restaurant, then the assistant will call and it'll take the voice of like a person, and like you if you were on the other side, you would not be able to tell that it's a robot. You'd think it was an actual person. It's like, yeah, then the robot's like, I would like to book my assistant or my yeah, it'd be like, okay, I'm an assistant for such and such person, and I would like to book a reservation here. And then the person would be like, okay, yeah, like what time? And then like the robot would like answer it, and like it sounds like an actual person.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah,
In what way would it be misused? I feel like the only way.
identity theft, bro.
Huh?
Identity theft.
That's what I was trying to say.
Because if you think about it, bro, like if you take many of these like emerging AI technologies and you put it together, you can have identity theft. Because for example, you know what a deep fake is, right? Do
What?
you know what a deep fake is?
Deepfake? No.
Okay, so it's whenever you have a video of a person, okay? Then you take someone else's face, and then the AI puts the other person's face over the actual person's face, and then it looks like it's the actual person.
Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool though.
It's pretty cool, but it's also extremely sketch. You get what I'm saying? Because like and apparently some of the deep fakes they actually work pretty well. Uh like it'd be like if there was like some because like, it can be used as like false evidence. So like let's say someone doesn't like you and they want to try and get you in jail, they could take like footage of, I don't know, some person beating up another person and like deep fake your face on top of the person who is assaulting the other person. And I mean, now you can tell that it's a deep fake usually. Sometimes it gets hard. But even in, let's say, a few years from now, it'd be almost impossible to tell.
Yeah, that is actually true though.
Yeah, and then also there's these repositories on GitHub. I mean, they're all not as good quality now, but I could definitely see them within like, the next like 10 years or so becoming, or maybe in 5 years becoming way better, where you replace someone else's voice with another voice. So like let's say someone's talking, there's
Uh-huh.
these repositories where you could take like let's say a recording of my own voice or your voice, and then convert what they're saying in their voice into your voice. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So basically, you can say that's like a voice overlay.
It's a voice overlay, but it's like, yeah, basically, yeah, but it's like super sophisticated, and it sounds like you're the actual one saying it. Like I mean,
Pretty cool.
yeah. So like the voice overlay and the deep fakes like put together that's identity theft basically.
Uh, it could be used. But like that's I feel like most people, normal people, wouldn't know how to do it though.
Yeah, for now at least. But I mean, obviously as it progresses, it'll probably become more user friendly. And there's also this cool thing on GitHub. There's this repository, okay,
Hmm.
and it's like it's basically they trained this AI that they made with a bunch of different faces and like facial features and stuff, like tons and tons. And they also fed the same AI with a ton of different city skylines. So they'd give it like, let's say, the Montreal skyline, the Toronto skyline, the Miami skyline, the Shanghai skyline, and a bunch of different skylines. Yeah, so basically what it does is that it takes all this information from different faces and it takes all this information from different skyline photographies. And what it does is that it basically makes a face or a skyline that doesn't exist. So what it would do is that it would take all the information from all the different face shots that it has, and for kind of tell like what a human face looks like like the cheekbones, your eyes, your eyebrows, ears, and like all the different types of like eye shapes, ear shapes, cheekbones, mouth shapes, lip shapes, like all that stuff, and then it will basically make a picture of a person that doesn't exist. So it'll take all these things and it'll mix it together in a way where it would look realistic and would kind of make like a fake person.
Basically, it's a face mashup, you'd say.
Yes, but extremely sophisticated. Like if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was an actual picture of a person or simulation of a person.
Pretty cool
Yeah,
though. I
and
mean,
it.
yeah, I feel like that kind of reminds like that like level up system, like that like point system that China has.
What do you mean, like with the face recognition technology?
It really reminds me of that when you explain that.
That's true. Yeah, the face recognition technology is also going to be a problem. Like that AI poses. But yeah, but to go back to this repository, like it does that with faces, but also does that with cities. So it has like a bunch of different skylines, and then it puts them together in a way that looks realistic, and it'll show you the skyline of a city that doesn't exist, even though it looks really real.
What do you mostly think it'd be used for?
That
Outside of yeah,
that'll just be because you can't it won't be used for fraud because you can't in well it could be used for fraud maybe, but I feel like it wouldn't be. I mean, they could use it to impersonate someone that that doesn't exist, but I feel like it would mainly just be used to fuck around.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it'd mostly be used to just mess around.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but face recognition technology, I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be. It should stop being developing because I feel like the downsides of it are way more than the upsides.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, because think about it, the upside. There's really two upsides for face recognition technology that I can think of, which are upside one would be for security. So like Face ID on your iPhone, or even like let's say in the future you could have like maybe your ID to enter a building instead of having a card, you just scan your face, right? And then the other upside is a very like small one, but filters. Like the filters on Snapchat and Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. But that's really the only two. I mean, can you think of any other use case, like positive use case for it?
To be honest, no, not really.
Yeah, but then if you look at the downsides, there's all kinds of downsides. For example, um, I think it's Russia. What they'll do is that whenever there's pictures or videos of a protest, like against the government protests, they'll run a face recognition software through it to identify some of the people at the protest, and then within the next few days or few weeks they'll go and arrest those people. And also China's social credit system, where they're using it to against the Uyghur Muslims in order to like try and like put them inside the re-education camps. And like also they're using it for the social credit system, which is, I mean, for those of you who don't know, it's basically like the Black Mirror movie. That's being used all across China.
In the episode.
Oh no, no, but there's also a movie about it too.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I haven't watched the TV series, but I've watched the movie about it. But yeah, so the social credit system is pretty dystopian, and that obviously uses face recognition technology. And the re-education of Uyghur Muslims in the Xinjiang province, which I'm sure like you've heard of, that also uses face recognition technology to identify people.
I mean, honestly, I think it's safe to assume that the world is becoming a lot cooler, but a lot more scary at the same time. You know?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Because a lot of these like face recognition technology, like whenever you look at the upsides and downsides, there's way more downsides than there are upsides for it. So I don't really see the point in continuing to develop it. And I mean, same thing with like deep fakes and like converting voice. If you look at the upsides and downsides, it seems like it's going to be used a lot more for identity fraud than other things.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I that's what I have to say about AI. Do you have anything more to add?
Yeah, I feel like we touched a lot on AI.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's such a important subject.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything more to say
No, I don't
about
have
any?
anything more to say.
I feel
Okay,
like we touched a lot on things. I feel like we have to say that technology is not always growing, always adapting, always changing, always evolving,
yeah,
and that we need to be careful with what we're doing.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And we can't rush it, like especially the important stuff like AI and stuff. We can't, and self-driving cars, they can't rush the software, or else like like people are gonna get hurt or even possibly die.
Yeah, that is for sure true.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't, I mean, yeah, I don't have anything else to say, and you don't have anything else to say, right?
I think we
Yeah.
spoke
Mhm.
about all things that we wanted to have said.
Yeah. Well, so I guess on that note, thanks for watching the podcast and have a nice day. See ya.
Bye.